Merry Christmas, everybody, again. It is December 10th, and we're getting very, very close. I hope everybody's getting excited, and I hope you enjoyed the Parade of Lights. That was fantastic. I've got some more books to read for you. This time we're going to read A Porcupine in a Pine Tree. A Canadian 12 Days of Christmas. There's the book. Well, I'm going to start with the Canadian 12 Days of Christmas. Ho, 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 ho. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a porcupine in a pine tree. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 caribou and a porcupine in a pine tree. Well, I'm not sure where this is going, but I think we're going to find out. Ho, 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 ho. On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. Ho, 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 ho. On the fourth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4 calling moose, 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. Look at all the stuff they're getting on these days of Christmas. We're already at the 4th day of Christmas. My goodness, what's going to happen on the 12th day? Ho, 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 ho. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 Stanley Cups, 4 calling moose, 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. And there's the Stanley Cups. Wow. Ho, 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 ho. On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 6 squirrels curling, 5 Stanley Cups, 4 calling moose, 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. On the 7th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 sled dogs sledding, 6 squirrels curling, 5 Stanley Cups, 4 calling moose, 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. Ho, 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 ho. On the 8th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 8 Mounties munching, 7 sled dogs sledding, 6 squirrels curling, 5 Stanley Cups, 4 calling moose, 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. Now we're getting on to the 9th day of Christmas. On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 9 loons canoeing, 8 Mounties munching, 7 sled dogs sledding, 6 squirrels curling, 5 Stanley Cups, 4 calling moose, 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. Ho, 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 ho. This is funny. On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 10 Leafs a-leaping. Well, look at, for all you Leafs fans out there they are. Ho, 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 ho. 10 Leafs a-leaping, 9 loons canoeing, 8 Mounties munching, 7 sled dogs sledding, 6 squirrels curling, 5 Stanley Cups, 4 calling moose, 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. Now we're going to move on to the 11th day. On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 puffins piping, 10 Leafs a-leaping, 9 loons canoeing, 8 Mounties munching, 7 sled dogs sledding, 6 squirrels curling, 5 Stanley Cups, 4 calling moose, 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. And now we're on the last day, the 12th day of Christmas. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 12 cups a dancing, 11 puffins piping, 10 Leafs a-leaping, 9 loons canoeing, 8 Mounties munching, 7 sled dogs sledding, 6 squirrels curling, 5 Stanley Cups, 4 calling moose, 3 beaver tails, 2 caribou, and a porcupine in a pine tree. So there you go. There's the 12 days of Canadian Christmas. That's incredible. Did you like that story? There it is. There's the pine tree. And there's all the gifts from the last 12 days. Oh, I like that story. That was very clever. And what's our next one here? Let's see. Well, I hope everybody knows this one. This is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Oh, we don't like that Grinch guy. You know, him and I have got some issues. Well, let's see how he's doing. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Let's get to the start. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been his heart was 2 sizes too small. The Grinch has just too small of a heart. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, Grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. He did not like that a bit. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow's Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew it was Christmas. All the Who girls and boys who would wake bright and early, they'd rush for their toys, and then, oh the noise, oh the noise, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, noise, noise. Banging drums, and flutes, and arrows flying, and trumpets. Look at all the noise. My goodness, that Grinch was a mean character. I hope there's no Grinches out there amongst you folks. Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch could not stand in the least. He hated everything about Christmas. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who in the Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop it this Christmas from coming. But how? He's thinking of a way to stop Christmas. Well, that's not very nice, is it? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. There he is. He's all of a sudden got an idea. That doesn't sound very good. Oh, 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 oh. Well, let's see. Uh-oh. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and chuckled, what a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like St. Nick. Do you think he looks like Santa Claus? I don't think he looks very much like Santa Claus there. All I need is a reindeer, the Grinch looked around. But since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his sled dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. There's poor Max. And he taped a horn onto the top of his head. Isn't that awful? Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on the ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up to old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up," and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay at snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first house on the square, this stop one, the old Grinch claws hissed, and he climbed to the roof and emptied bags in his fist. Uh-oh, what's he gonna do? He's on the top of the roof and he's got empty bags. Uh-oh, it doesn't look good. It looks like he's going down the chimney with empty bags. He slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue. Where the little Who stockings all hung in a row, these stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Oh no, he's gonna steal the stockings. That Grinch guy. We gotta stop that Grinch guy. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present, pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. And he stuffed them into bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one and up the chimney. He took their whole Christmas from the house, put it all in bags, and took it up the chimney. What are we going to do with that Grinch? Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. He took all the presents, all their stockings. Now he's cleaning out the fridge. Oh, that Grinch. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. Oh no, he even took the Christmas tree. Boy, oh boy. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove, when he heard a small sound like a coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who. Little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But there's the Grinch taking the Christmas tree, and there's little Cindy Lou. But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it to my home, to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Well, he fooled her. He said he was going to take the Christmas tree back to his workshop and fix it. Well, we'll see about that. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. He took everybody's Christmas. It was 15:15 dawn, and all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings and trappings. There's a picture of a sleigh all loaded up with the Who's Christmas presents. What a terrible Grinch. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet. He rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the who's. He was the Grinchiest humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open for a minute or two. Then the who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so. Why was Mary very? He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without presents, nothing at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it just came the same. So the who's didn't care about the presents. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from the store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. He, the Grinch, carved the Christmas beast. So he brought the toys all back, and he even helped them carve the roast beast for Christmas. So Christmas was saved. So the Grinch turned out to be not such a bad guy after all. I guess I better take it back. Ho, 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 ho. I'm still not sure though. I've seen a lot of Grinches out there. We got to watch for them. I hope there's no Grinches watching me today. My goodness. Well, that was a good story. I hope you enjoyed it. Ho, 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 ho.